Well, hello, heroes and heroines. It's 7 o'clock on a Tuesday night, and so where else would I be but here with you? DJ Stutz here with Little Hearts Academy USA, and of course, Imperfect Heroes podcast. And I'm just so excited to be here with everyone. So tomorrow, I'm really excited. Tomorrow, I am at Henry's Fork Elementary and reading in the library to all of the kids at the elementary. Well, half of the kids, I guess, that come to the library on Wednesdays. And I'm reading them my book, Roman is Bigger. And so we're just going to have a great day tomorrow. And I'm really looking forward to it. So today we are talking about those autism diagnoses, right? And it just doesn't feel right. They're saying autism and they're talking about it at your child's school, but it doesn't feel right. And in fact, I've seen times when the doctors are saying, "Oh, it's not autism, it's something else." But the teachers and specialists and whatever at school are saying, "Well, we're going to list him as autistic anyway." And there's something called educational autism, which is basically that, where the doctors are saying, "No, it's not." But they're listing him as that anyway. And it's a way, I guess, to get your child services and whatever. But there's some negative points to that as well. So my guest today is Marci Melzer, and she's amazing. So much energy. It's amazing the energy that she has, and she is so knowledgeable. Marci is introducing, so I talk about educational autism, and I'll talk about that a little more in just a minute. She is talking about something that is called virtual autism, and uh, this was something that was new to me. I've tried to study up, keep up on some of these different autistic diagnoses and what's going on. And but I love what you had to say. It made total sense with what's going on with our kids, and then what we can do about it. So one of the things that we talk about with autistic diagnoses and autistic type behaviors is that um, kids who don't make eye contact, right? So maybe they're not making eye contact. Maybe they're not able to concentrate on certain things for very long, but they're able to concentrate on other things for extremely long amounts of time. And so they will focus and fixate on certain things. And with each child, it is something different. It is distinct to that child, right? So it could be dinosaurs, it could be a video game, it could be certain lights, it could be certain sensations or um, touches or um, certain books or colors or whatever. And they can get really fixated on something like that. It might be robots, it could be anything. And so a lot of times an autistic child or a child with some level of autism might do some of that. Poor social skills, where they will interrupt. They don't know the cues. They aren't able to read the room. They're not able to read a person to notice that someone is sad or that someone is upset or that someone wants to play. They might have difficulty understanding the rules of how to engage in play, to join a group of other children who are playing. And so you'll see them maybe stand anxiously at the side. You might see some of that movement back and forth as they're watching other kids play together, and they don't know how to say, hey, I'm going to take the yellow car, or what are you guys doing? Or, engage. So they might engage inappropriately by just grabbing something without asking or engaging vocally, developing relationship wise. They just jump in and create havoc because they are wrecking things, or they're taking pieces because they might want to replicate something that they're doing. And so, oh, I need that piece because that's what you made, so I'm going to make it over here, because they're going to do it by themselves because they don't have those social skills to um, engage in the group play. They might be doing playing, like mimicking the other kids close by, but they're not engaging with the other kids. So a teacher or a specialist might see some of those things. And yes, those are some flags for um, asking the questions about autism. Does that make sense to everybody? Maybe that'll help you. But it doesn't mean that they have autism. So they might have some signals of that. So there might be repetitive behavior. You might see them moving their hands back and forth a lot, right? Or even tapping. I've seen tapping of their head. They might be needing to move their knees as they're sitting, or their feet as they're sitting. They might be doing some of these other things when they're doing that. And yes, repetitive behavior, repetitive things, sign of autism. Doesn't mean they have it necessarily, though. And there might be some doctors who say, oh, well, maybe they are high functioning autistic, right? And so maybe we're going to deal with them on that level. Okay, let's look at it that way. But there's a phenomenon that's going on, and it started with our kids spending more and more and more and more time on screens in a virtual world where they are not engaging with friends or siblings outside of that virtual world as much. So they're not out building, forts with the branches and extra wood that they find outside. And they're not engaging themselves with trying to figure out, how to break their arm on a skateboard, or doing tricks on their bike, or, how to do trick shots with a basketball, and trying to throw the football, or playing tag or hide and seek, or all the games that kids tend to come up with, building a pirate boat, or playing pirates, or, cops and robbers, or, yeah, even war games, and things that they might be seeing on the news. And so that's kind of how they will work out what they're seeing in the world around them on the news, we're scrolling through our things. What are we seeing? What are we talking about? Global warming? Are we talking about, violence? Now we're all talking about the elections and what's going on there, and what your opinions are. It's so funny as a kindergarten teacher, you know, you get to know where all the parents stand on different political issues, because the kids will repeat them, and they will use the language that you use when you're talking about different governmental policies and governmental characters. I call them characters. And so it's just really interesting when they're watching you, they're listening to you. And when you think they're not listening, yep, they are. And so, but when they're absorbed in a screen, they're not picking up on those table conversations that we used to have. And they're not picking up on how to argue with their siblings over something, or we're jumping in too quickly and not giving them those opportunities. And so it's kind of what Marci calls virtual autism. They're not learning how to engage with a friend, or how to join a group play, or how to notice that someone is sad, someone is happy, someone is nervous, someone is scared, or now we've had even more kids that are coming into kindergarten, or in some preschool arenas and first grade, where uh, they don't think they have to listen to a teacher or an aide or a specialist. Um, Why do I have to listen to you? And so they're used to ignoring their parents because I'm on my screen. What? I'm not listening to you. And so when a teacher is trying to engage them and they are literally full out ignoring, not paying any attention to what is going on around them because they're used to that, because they're being on the screen, and they are allowed to be on that screen and not respond to a parent or a sibling or whoever else is around them. Um, they don't have to, and the parents might use that, or whomever is around, as in, oh, they're on the screen, they're not even listening to me. You need to make them listen to you. And so, anyway, Marci and I had this great discussion on if your child is getting that diagnosis of autism, how to look at that diagnosis. What are the questions you need to ask? What are the things that you need to look at as a parent to say, well, what if we try this? And she has some great ideas on how to engage your child and how to come up with your own conclusion. Because honestly, truly honestly, the best expert on your child is the one who is spending all the time with your child. Now, if you're not spending that time with your child, or the time that you have with them, and you're not engaged with your child, maybe that's something you need to think about and rethink on how you are spending that time when you're asking who's really setting forth the boundaries, who is teaching the values and the moralities and the ethics, and that we do difficult things. It is amazing to accomplish something that was really hard to do. I want you to think back on things that you've done in your life that were really hard, whether it was running a 3K, a 5K, a marathon, whether it was losing all that weight, whether it was getting your degree, whether it was accomplishing a big project at home or at work or whatever, something that took more than just a day's work, but took some engaging and research and trying and failing and then making adjustments, and maybe that didn't work out, so you have to stand back and look at it, rethink it out, and do it again, and then you get it right. Correct? And look back on maybe when you were a kid. And it's so funny because I do talk about this sometime about Lassen Hill in Los Angeles. And this was a hill that there were it's funny, our family kind of came in three groups. So there were the three oldest, myself and my brothers, Don and Spence. And then there were the middle kids, my sister Sunny and the twins. And then 7 years later came Danny, and he was kind of like an only child with a bunch of parents telling him what to do. It's amazing how kids functional. But so Don and Spence and I, our whole thing was get our chores done and get out of the house and go and get away from that, eye of my mom and go off and do what we wanted to do. And so we would get our chores done as quickly as possible, and we would take off on our bikes. And there was a hill, Lassen Hill, it was on Lassen, go figure. And it was a pretty steep hill. But at the bottom of the hill was a stoplight. But it was a fun hill to ride your bikes down because you could go fast. You could go fast. But that stoplight was problematic at that bottom of the hill. And so we learned that you had to time it. You had to watch the stoplight. How long did we have? When it turned green, you couldn't just go at the top of the hill when it turned green, because when you got to the bottom, it would be red. And so we were using like evaluation skills, and we would time it, and we would take turns going down and stop, and we were trying to help each other not get killed at the bottom of Lassen Hill. But we figured it out. We worked it out. And I can remember the first time that I went down and we had figured it out, and I knew, I felt confident that I was going to make it to the bottom of Atlassian Hill and the light was going to be green and I was going to be able to drive on through. Now, was that dangerous? Oh, yeah, it was pretty dangerous. Did my mom know that we were doing that? No, she had no idea that we were doing that. But I felt so accomplished and proud of myself when I actually did that. When I finished my first 5K, when I finished my first 10K and got that done, I felt very exhausted, but very proud of myself. And then beating that time, in that race the next year, doing those kinds of things. How exciting is it for our kids when they are able to set a goal and it's physical and it's hard and you've got to work at it and make an effort. And so I remember when we lived in Las Vegas, and I had my sister lived with us, or not with us, but lived there, and I had one of the twins live there, and my brother Dan, that youngest brother, um, lived there for a few years with us. So we had the four siblings that lived there together, and it was Thanksgiving. How exciting! And we had uh, our football game, the Thanksgiving family football game, right? And we had it on the football field of Cheyenne High School. Look it up. It's kind of dicey, but that's where we were playing football because that was the local high school for us. And we were playing football and we didn't really notice, but my sister had a young son named Bo. And Bo was like 3 years old. And I've talked to him. He's an adult now. He's a published author. He's an amazing dad to three beautiful girls. But little 3-year-old Bo, we started noticing he had started just running around the track, and he was pushing himself. And we're like, what is Bo doing? And he was just 3 years old, just pushing himself around the track. The football game went to the side, and we realized that he was running around, and he made it all the way around the first time, and we're like, yay, Bo, yay. And then he kept going. So we started running alongside him, and we're like, do it, Bo, we're proud of you. And he managed to go around 4 times at 3 years old, and that meant he had run a full mile at 3 years old. We were so excited. It's like he won the Super Bowl. And when I've talked to him as he's an adult, he says, I've heard the story more than I really remember. But what I do remember at that time is the cheering and everyone cheering me on. And I remember being excited about something I had done. I just remember being proud and excited. Don't rob our kids of these opportunities and these moments, you know, and these chances to learn very young that I am capable of doing hard things, exciting things, and I can do amazing things. And Bo has gone on to do amazing, exciting things. Let's give those opportunities. Listen to the podcast. Marci is so energetic, so exciting to listen to, and so full of information and great ideas. So it's already up, it's already available. imperfectheroespodcast.com, or just find it wherever you find podcasts. It's there. So go listen to it, share it, leave a review, follow all the things. And well, it's not up yet. It's going to be up on YouTube and Rumble, but listen and get that information and look at your child in a different way, in a positive way. Well, we all look at our kids, I think, mostly in a positive way, but in a way that they can do hard things. And maybe it's not autism. Maybe it's just a lack of opportunity to learn how to be social, to learn how to do hard things, to learn how to challenge themselves and to be up to the challenge, and how we as parents can give them those opportunities and open up an entire new world for what they can do with their lives. So until next week, let's find joy in parenting And I'll see you later, guys. Bye.